Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Hollywood screen goddess Doris Day. And through her life, and particularly Sera, whatever will be, we looked at just how we can live the life that we need to. So I trust you found that encouraging. Well, it's nice in this series to go back to people that have really resonated and left a place in your heart. And this is well and truly the case with this guy today. And we're going to get on to one of the movies in a minute. The story started in 1925 in West Plains in Missouri. And this guy's 96 years old and he's still going. And for 7 decades, he has captivated the world on stage, movies, and TV. And we're talking about the immortal Dick Van Dyke, actor, entertainer, and comedian. He very much got his start in the nightclub scene around that time, but he got a bit of a break in 1961 on stage with Bye Bye Birdie. That was a story about a young rock artist, and he got a Tony Award for that one. So this guy kind of hit the ground running because he's just such an energetic bundle of life, this guy. And then because of that, between 1960 and then in 1963, he actually got into a movie version of Bye Bye Birdie, which is pretty cool. Around that time also, 1961 to 1966. So, you know, this guy's career only started, he got given a 5-season Dick Van Dyke show. In fact, that show came back in the 1970s, so it's pretty cool. And then in 1964, the world of movies changed forever for this little Disney movie, Mary Poppins. We're going to get onto that in a little while, in a little bit later. 1968, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was all about a flying car and the adventures of the family in that particular movie. He's done some TV series, Diagnosis Murder and Murder 101. He was pretty well renowned as like kind of that home sleuth kind of character. And interestingly, he was also a night at the museum a couple of times, you know, those 3 caretaker guys, 2006 and a remake in 2014. And much to everyone's surprise, back in 2018, we had him come back from Mr Dawes Jnr. in Mary Poppins Returns, and we'll get onto that in a little while as well. Countless TV, movie, stage appearances. There's just so many over a 7-decade career. Pretty amazing. Dick's won 5 Primetime Emmys, a Grammy Award, inducted into the Television Hall of Fame. He's received a Lifetime Achievement Award for the Screen Actors Guild. That's the highest award that those guys can actually give out. He's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he's also been classed as a Disney legend, which you'd expect from Mary Poppins. And he's been honoured at the Kennedy Center in 2021. So, Mary Poppins. We all know, well, this movie is just an absolute classic. In fact, it has been put into the National Film Registry. It's a culturally significant movie. At the time, it was nominated 13 times for Academy Award, and it won 5 of those. It's pretty amazing. And this is the first movie, of course, that was released by Disney. Now, if you've actually watched it, Saving Mr. Banks, that's the story about how it took 20 years for Walt Disney to get the rights, the permission from P.L. Travers, the author, to produce and bring Mary Poppins to the screen. There were a few scenes that the author was not very happy with, but you know, it stood the test of time, this movie. We all know how incredible Julie Andrews was in this movie. But one of the guys that often, every now and then, gets a bit overlooked is Dick Van Dyke in the role of Bert, and also a bit later as Mr Dawes Jnr., the bank manager. Just how he very much just carried Julie Andrews through the whole movie, bringing his whole stamp to the movie. Mary Poppins was very significant as well because it was before this time Disney had really only done animated movies. movies like, when Mickey Mouse got his start and Snow White and a few others like that. But this is their first attempt at live action, and this movie is very significant because in typical Disney style, Disney magic, they were able to combine real action with animation on the same screen through sodium vapor process. And so culturally significant, and movies changed forever at this point. And so, of course, you cannot talk about Dick Van Dyke, and we'll get onto Julie Andrews in a little bit later in this series, but we cannot talk about Mary Poppins and not talk about Dick Van Dyke, because he well and truly carried this movie in lots of ways, just through the cockiness of this guy, his just easiness and down to earth, his ability, and Bert's ability in that movie to just read people where they were at and what they absolutely needed in any given time. Anyway, the best way to really experience Mary Poppins is to actually look at some of the clips. I've got a few clips in the description below. Mary Poppins and a few others. Of course, when we talked about that animation live action process, you got to go to the penguin dance, and here we see just how clever Dick Van Dyke was at dancing. His singing's pretty good as well, and the way that he just captured the whole penguin thing really well in dancing with his 4 penguin mates. He was kind of a bit keen on Mary Poppins, his character, but Mary Poppins well and truly put him in the friend zone the whole time. And I think the whole animated sequence is very much him trying his darndest, but never really going to get there. But the thing about characters is, if they had hooked up, it would have broken character for both of them. And so you kind of just live with that as an audience. So we got the penguin dance, which is a pretty iconic sequence. And of course, you've got to have supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Now, try and spell that one. In fact, in the description below, where I've actually linked to this clip, I actually had to cut and paste it. So, of course, that's iconic again, live action and animation all in one screen. Such an iconic song. I mean, what were the songwriters thinking when they came up with this word? But they came with it, and they changed musical history at this point. Such a classic word for this incredible Mary Poppins movie. Now, one of the songs that features a few times in the movie, a bit of a like a narration of the song, is Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney, Chim Chim Cher-ee. Mary Poppins had a bit of a go at it. And of course, Dick Van Dyke in his role as Bert did this one. In this particular scene, all hell had broken loose at the father's bank. There'd been a run on the bank, and here was Bert bringing the kids home and just warming their hearts, keeping them safe, and all the rest of the stuff as he delivered them back to the high uptown of London. So we've got this beautiful Chim Chim Cher-ee, and this really brings out the tenderness of Dick Van Dyke in this role of Bert. Of course, another song I'll have to get onto when I do Mary Poppins is Feed the Birds. Oh my goodness, absolutely stunning song by Julie Andrews, but we'll let that one go this time. And then you cannot talk about Mary Poppins and not talk about A Step in Time. This is Dick Van Dyke dancing at his very best here. And Mary Poppins got an Academy Award for special effects, and this is very much the case here, but the dancing is real. So on the rooftops of London, as you do, he and his mates really get down big time here. So I've got the movie clip, and I've also got a bit of a tribute to Dick Van Dyke, and in typical Dick Van Dyke style, he does surprise audiences, and when you least expect him, there he is. So a little bit older here, he comes on and does a little bit of a dance with the incredible dancers who pay tribute to this iconic Step in Time sequence. Another one of the movies, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, all about a flying car of all things. This movie came out in 1968. We've got a couple of sequences from this movie. We've got the theme title, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Bang, We Love You. I can't even say it. And then we've got another iconic dance sequence from that movie as well. So again, we see how clever Dick Van Dyke is. Very much a clown when it comes to dancing, but he can really dance, this guy. But he does what his character needs. So very much you can't choreograph some of this stuff. You say, hey, can you just do this? And see what happens. And so we've got two scenes from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And as I said, he also came back, much to the surprise of the cast. 2018 Mary Poppins Returns had Emily Blunt in that title role. And we've got a bit of a tribute montage of the cast reflecting back on that iconic day he rocked up. And of course, we've got to have the clip when Dick van Dyke reprises his role as Mr Dawes Jnr. So the links to those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 clips. Well, there we go. In the description below. And I've also included my video from a girl also who was around the same time, Doris Day. So if you want to carry upon her, feel free. Well, it's so good to pay credence to this guy. Very understated, but so culturally significant to the world, this guy, because Mary Poppins was an absolute revelation when it came out. It's one of those movies that if you are a Disney collector, you've got to have in your collection, and you probably have the Mary Poppins Returns as well. So if you've come back for another one, as we've looked at, we're continuing on with our Screen Legends series. If you come back for another one, if this is your first time, the Life Reflections through Music, thank you to everyone for hanging around. And I trust you found it encouraging. And I think the takeaway from the Dick van Dyke story, this guy is absolutely reliable. He knows what he needs to do, and he lifts people's spirits in a very understated but bright, captivating way. These sort of characters bring life not just to the movie, but to the world. And for that, Dick, we owe you a lot. And well done for still being around after all the years. Pretty cool. And, you know, there have been some videos I've done of him lately. You know, he's still looking pretty sprightly for his age. You know, he's doing quite well. What can we say? Dancers, you know, with that spirit of fun, hang around for a while. So next time we're going to get on to music legend Dion. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.